The Browns lose on Sunday to the Dallas Cowboys. They also came out injured. Tight end David Njoku, couple of linebackers, some changes are being made. We're going to talk about it. Your latest Lockdown Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jeff Lloyd, and we appreciate everybody who makes Locked On Browns their first listen every single day. The everyday crowd, the numbers keep going higher and higher. Don't miss out. Subscribe to the Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Become an everydayer today. The show is always available, and it is always free wherever you get your podcasts. So certainly some things to talk about today. Quiet Tuesday, normal in the regular NFL season. Tuesdays, generally everybody's off day. Browns, however, not necessarily off today. We're going to talk about some of the changes that are being made to the roster due to the injuries. We're going to talk about two players who could be interesting to watch over the next couple of weeks here with the Cleveland Browns. And unfortunately, with Deshaun Watson's play on Sunday, and poor play, I will add, of course, the situation as a whole just seems to get even a little worse with a possible pending lawsuit and things that can come with that. It's just the last thing in the world the Cleveland Browns need right now. But as far as the roster moves that are being made, the Cleveland Browns have released they have released cornerback Justin Hardy Sr. I talked about this in multiple times. With Mike Ford on the practice squad, with Justin Hardy on the practice squad, with Tony Brown on the practice squad, and three corners essentially on the 53-man roster. I don't know what the point was of having three special teams, pretty much only guys on the practice squad. Browns at least made one move here. They do have to free up a couple of things here. We'll see how guys move, get designated, whatever. Wide receiver Tulu Griffin also moved off of the practice squad. The Browns did sign linebacker Khaleke Hudson. Now, the issue with the linebacker position, and if anybody who hasn't, it's not just one injury at the linebacker position. There's two injuries at the linebacker position. Justin Fields is dinged up, as is Mahmoud Diabate. Now, when Coach Stefanski spoke, he said it was week to week on both players. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys is headed to short-term IR. Tony Fields was injured most of the summer, was just getting back into the swing of things, did start Sunday. Now, unfortunately, dinged again. Who knows how long he'll be out. And did get some reps with the base defense late in the game on Sunday. Mahmoud Diabate, we know last year he made his presence as core special teamer. But the Browns needed, another linebacker in here. They're carrying 6 on the 53-man roster. That would take them down to 4. Khaleke Hudson was originally drafted by the Washington Commanders, spent 4 years there, spent the summer with the New Orleans Saints, didn't work out there. He's played in the NFL, but most likely his time in the NFL has been as a special teamer. You want to hear something actually interesting about Khaleke Hudson, the former Michigan Wolverine. While he was at Michigan, he once, and it still holds, for an NCAA record of 8 tackles for loss. 8 tackles for loss in a college football game is absolutely an insane thing. Also, official now into the practice squad, wide receiver Kadarius Toney. I might know, and special teams return guy Kadarius Toney. And apparently everybody, was thrilled about this move yesterday on social media. And all your jokes, can he play left tackle? Oh, does he play quarterback? All the same tweets you guys send out that you think nobody's ever sent out before in the history of Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it these days. I actually like it. I do. When you are running a front office in the NFL and you have a guy who is 25 years old, this would be his 4th season in the league, and is a former first-round pick, what's the harm? What's the harm? Yes, he's had his issues within the league. There's no question about it. I don't know what happened between he and the New York Giants, because that relationship soured extremely quickly. It's an interesting move. He comes in and, my guess he's probably right on target with Elijah Moore as being your fastest wide receiver. There has been times where he's been a good player and been able to contribute. He once had a 10 reception, 186-yard game for the New York Giants in Dallas against the Dallas Cowboys. I believe he broke one of Odell records in that game. Also did get ejected from the game for throwing a punch. So, there is a little good and there is some bad. 10 for 186, and maybe the highlight for some people was that he threw a punch, got ejected from the game. Was a quiet breakout guy at Florida. Was kind of quiet his first couple of years there. His final year there, he really, really tore it up. And he was a guy that was just a name that was mentioned in draft circles at the time. And then all of a sudden just balled out and balled his way into being a first-round pick. Again, the situation in the New York Giants did not work out very well. So, in year 2, he was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. So he contributed a little bit. The Super Bowl that year for the Kansas City Chiefs, he has and is still a current Super Bowl record. He had a 65-yard punt return. Didn't go to the house, but he had a 65-yard punt return. Also in that game, he did catch a short, I think it was 4-yard touchdown pass in that game as well. Played sparingly last year in 2023. Kadarius Toney, ironically enough, owns two Super Bowl rings in his time with the Kansas City Chiefs. So I like the move. I like the gamble. Look, if you're going to put somebody on a practice squad, Justin Hardy, career special teamer, right? Not bad. Had a nice career. Does one thing and one thing only. Covers kicks, covers punts. Here's a guy with all the athletic ability in the world. Runs 4.3, 40-inch vertical jump. And you're now going to put him on your practice squad. That is a good move. That is good GMing. If you were going to gamble and everybody, no, he's going on a practice squad. I mean, my God, I understand everybody was blistered after Sunday and the way that the Browns performed. I get it. I'm not stupid. I'm not naive. I'm not foolish. But you never stop working your roster. And if you have a chance to put a guy like Kadarius Toney and you kind of put him in a prove-it scenario on the practice squad, and that can better your overall team, damn it, that's what you're going to do. And, I don't understand just because the Browns lost on Sunday and Deshaun Watson didn't play well and the offensive line didn't play well. And just one other thing here. I hear a lot of people talking about the defense not playing well on Sunday. I don't want to hear that. The defense played more than well enough to win an NFL game on Sunday. It is not on them by any way whatsoever. Can they work better on the jet sweeps? 100%. But you gamble on short things. You try to gamble on short things. They may blow up in your face, but you gamble on plus athletes. Kadarius Toney is a plus athlete. It is a good move. We're going to talk a little bit more about Kadarius Toney. We're also going to talk about practice squad tight end Cameron Latu, who I think there's an opportunity for here in the next couple of weeks. Your latest Locked On Browns continues. Men, when we leave the house, it's phone, wallet, keys, and how's my hair? Check my hair, right? But if you're experiencing hair loss, you may not be so confident when you step outside your door. It's time to get that confidence back and restore your hair with Hims. Hims provides access to a range of hair loss treatments that work all from the comfort of your couch. Hims makes treating your hair loss simple with doctor-trusted treatment options and clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers. So if you feel like you're losing part of yourself with your hair loss, get Hims and get your confidence back. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/LockedOnNFL. That's Hims, HIMS.com/LockedOnNFL for your personalized hair loss treatment options. Hims.com/LockedOnNFL. Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for further details and important safety information. Your latest Locked On Browns continues. I'm your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate everybody who makes the show their first listen every single day. If you're not part of the everyday crowd, well, make a new plan, stand, subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. Now, I guess, I bet it was called nuts and he stinks and he sucks and all these other things that were said about Kadarius Toney yesterday. And has he been inconsistent to this point of his NFL career? Absolutely. No doubt about it. But when you're talking pure athleticism and you are talking pure playmaking ability and you are talking pure ball in your hands, he might not even crack the offense. Who knows if he can get him off the practice squad? Pete Smith and I used to talk about guys like this forever. And he goes all the way back to the UDF left tackle that started in 2018. Was it Harrison, right? Harrison, yeah. These are the type of guys that could be with your franchise for 2 years, 2 months, 2 weeks, or 2 days. It all comes down to them. When you get yourself in a situation where you've kind of burned your way through the NFL a little bit, it's on you to either A, get it right, grow up, respect the game, respect the opportunity you are given, and clear out the nonsense in your life and go get that money. You're in the NFL. You got a chance to make a lifetime's worth of money. And if you really do it right, you got a chance to make a lifetime beyond you money. So for Kadarius Toney, who was once a first-round pick, was once a part of 2 Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowls. But he has the ability to be more than that. He has the ability to be a very good player in the NFL. And if you look at the way this Browns wide receiver room could be stacked up, you could have former first-round picks, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman, David Bell. All 6 of those guys were drafted in the 3rd round or higher. You want to sub out David Bell and put in Jamari Thrash, a day 3 pick, that's fine. But you have a chance to have a wide receiver room that consists of 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and 2 third-round picks. That's a heck of a wide receiver room on paper. Granted, you got to go out there, you got to perform, you got to make it all happen. Now, I think Toney in the beginning, I think where he could be of big service to this team is as a return man. Look, Jalen Darden did a nice job on Sunday. He did. I'm not trying to take that away from him. But Jalen Darden is not going to get any sniff of an offensive rep. So if you can get somebody like Kadarius Toney to go in there, be your return guy, and with his open field ability, and he in the open field, he looks like a guy that was never tagged it in the backyard in a day in his life. He does have that type of ability. So you can use him certainly on kickoff returns. You can use him on punt returns. I know none of us ever want to see the Browns run a jet sweep again, but maybe the Browns should run some jet sweeps because maybe they'll learn how to defend some jet sweeps. That's your guy. That's your guy to do it with, Kadarius Toney. In Florida, they handed him the ball. They threw him screens. They threw him smoke routes. They threw him jailbreak screens. This is a guy that can kind of do that type of stuff. And he has, once he's in the open field, ridiculous athleticism and ability. Now, this could all turn out to be nothing. That's a fact. It's a truth. Kadarius Toney could turn out to be nothing for this team. But again, if you're going to gamble on something that might work out. Gamble on something that at least it's got, you're showing me something. And look, Tulu Griffin, who got released today, there was something there, a little bit of a college career. He wasn't a former first-round pick. Wasn't a guy who once had 10 receptions for 186 yards in the NFL game. He's not a guy who holds a Super Bowl record for the longest punt return of 65 yards. He is not a guy who caught a touchdown pass in a Super Bowl. He is not a guy who has 2 Super Bowl rings. Take a chance on a guy that might possibly be a difference maker for you. It could work out. Or we could be back here in a week from now saying, hey, Kadarius Toney, thanks for coming out. Great knowing you. But for a team, certainly that way they looked on Sunday, starving for playmakers. And yes, almost all of it comes down to the quarterback, guys. I'm not naive. I tell you all the time. I call it like I see it. The play Sunday was laughable. And the only reason I'm saying laughable is because I don't want to say it was downright cringeworthy, cryworthy, which it pretty much was as well. So all of it needs to improve. But just because you bring in a playmaker, and look, Toney, Coop, this could be the last year. There's a really, really good chance this is Amari Cooper's last year in Cleveland. You want to know what? Maybe everybody says, oh, well, they go draft him with the first round. Well, I don't know about that with the quarterback situation. Or maybe you hit the free agent market for one. Sure. But if Jerry Jeudy performs, Cedric Tillman can find a way to, the problem is the Browns have too many wide receivers right now, and they need somebody that can complete some more passes. But you could have a wide receiver room next year with Jerry Jeudy, Kadarius Toney, Cedric Tillman, Jamari Thrash, David Bell, and then you go find and add whatever you think you need to it. But this is a move I'm really, I like. I want to gamble on athletes. I want to roll the dice. Has Kadarius Toney bought in? Is all the nonsense that's gotten him on off the field and switched after one season to another organization. This is the guy I want to see. I want to see more of him. I think there's an opportunity here for him. I really do. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing the way this turns out. The Browns are certainly in the market for tight ends. They had Swaim, the veteran, in today. Irv Smith Jr. in today. Tommy Sweeney, former Boston College tight end today. So they're definitely looking veteran tight end route. I believe David Njoku, I think they think he's going to be out 4 weeks. If they do, he could be a short-term IR candidate. I'm assuming if they think he is out 4 weeks, he'll be out, he'll be put on short-term IR tomorrow. But again, this was one of the things you were rolling the dice on with only carrying 2 tight ends on the 53-man roster. Harris, we know, can receive a little bit. He certainly is not a great blocker. So if you're looking for that blocking guy, I would probably say Swaim or Sweeney's probably a guy that's going to be, something they're looking at. Irv Smith Jr., a little bit smaller guy, not really a full-size tight end. You could also, if you're getting Jack Conklin back this week, which would be nice. James Hudson has been used as a blocking tight end. I don't care if you put him on the field, then it's a tell and everybody knows what's coming. Whatever. He can run block when he needs to. So if you want him to run block from a tight end aspect, I'm fine with that. I am more than fine with that. Then this brings us to, on the practice squad, Cameron Latu. Cameron Latu was drafted 4 spots behind Siaki Ika in the 2023 NFL draft. I don't remember if it was a meniscus or whatever, but ended up he got put on IR and his whole rookie year was washed. Did not make the 49ers this year. 6'4", 240 and change, 10-foot broad jump, caught 14 touchdown passes in his days at Alabama. So he can block. You're not playing tight end down at Tuscaloosa for Nick Saban without being able to block. So this is something I want to see. I want to see if they can maybe cultivate this kid. The 49ers are a good team. They can't hold the spot for a guy who was drafted 103rd overall like a lot of lesser teams in the NFL can. But this maybe is an opportunity where the Browns are forced into maybe trying to develop him. Maybe it wasn't even the cards. They just wanted somebody on the practice squad. So it's an interesting name to watch here. And if the Browns do sign one of these veteran tight ends, what's the chance he's ready to go on Sunday? Because by the time they get in here, and they're not signed yet. So even if they were signed, they got to get here, get some practicing in, learn the system, this, that, and the other thing. So it really could be Cameron Latu playing for the Browns tight end on Sunday. I want to see what works. I think there's something to work with there. The Browns, kind of forced into this position, but maybe you can develop somebody here who can be a guy you brought in for the practice squad, but ends up being a 53-man roster mainstay over the next couple of years. Your latest Locked On Browns continues. I'm your host, Jeff Lloyd. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel over the years, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you now through September 22nd. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a free 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon at a market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com to look at odds to including how the Browns are going to look this week. So go to FanDuel.com. We'll give you some picks here later in the week. Again, FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. Jeff Lloyd, your host here at Locked On Browns. As always, we appreciate everybody who makes Locked On Browns their first listen every single day. The everyday crowd, keep joining. Come on. Hit the subscribe button on the Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Join us every day. The everydayers will tell you all about it, how good it is. and how bad it is at times, right, guys? And of course, the show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. So you thought the worst thing in the world right now relative to quarterback Deshaun Watson was his play Sunday. And now we get this. And, this is an incident, obviously, from before his time here with the Cleveland Browns. Whether or not the possibility of this becoming a situation was disclosed by Deshaun Watson in his camp to the Cleveland Browns, I don't know. Right now, he is not subject to be on the commissioner's exempt list. This isn't something right now where there are any charges pending. It's a lawsuit. And as always, everybody in earnest is, reviewing the matter. It was either 20 or 21, I forget now. But apparently something went awry. And this isn't Deshaun being, accused of sexual harassment. This is Deshaun being accused of sexual assault. Definitely ups the ante here a little bit. And it looks like, suing for damages, this, that, and the other thing. It's the last thing in the world the Cleveland Browns need right now. It's the last thing they need. There are enough questions right now about Deshaun and his ability to perform on the field. And, the Browns are now in a situation here where they're having to talk about the same things they did when they first brought him in, when training camp started, when he came back from the suspension. So this is just, it's just something this team doesn't need right now. If there was a possibility that, the Browns did not know of the possibility of this and it leading to a lawsuit, I'm sure there are clauses, and I've talked to people who know Deshaun's contract pretty well. There are clauses as far as, him towing the line, what he was supposed to disclose to this team ahead of signing this contract. Your general, well-being, being a, man of the people, all those types of things, not being, there's a lot of heavy worded language in Deshaun Watson's contract. I don't know if this means he's in violation of any of that. If he is, the Browns could maybe find a way out. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that's a long, long way from a conversation, and we don't even know if that's a conversation that can even be had. But what I know is this is a distraction that this team does not need right now. After what happened Sunday and the poor play, and look, yes, the offensive line wasn't great. Yes, a lot of it's on them. Yes, a lot of it's on Deshaun. Would have been playing in the summer have helped, maybe, probably. But, would have having Jack Conklin, would have having, your competent offensive line out there, your week one offensive line out there you were expecting to have, sure, probably would have helped. But it is what it is. And this is your bed. Your big boys. You got to lay in it. They didn't play well. They didn't play well at all. And now, questions are being asked to things that are not relative to the football field. Nobody wants to deal with it. They just don't. They just don't at all. How does, the next few days go? And the Browns can go down to Jacksonville and hopefully handily take down the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then all of a sudden it'll kind of hopefully die down again. But for those who were, never Deshaun guys, and there are many of you, and then maybe some of you were, because of your fandom, drove you to wanting your team to be successful, that we're starting to just kind of slowly put that stuff in the rearview mirror. But here it is again. And again, after his poor play on Sunday, you're just in a situation where it's really, really bad. And, it's not anything, it could work one of two ways. This team could rally around the family, rally around the nonsense, and come out and beat the living daylights out of the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. Or it can become something that a team, and I'm not saying this team's having any issues right now. Obviously, nobody's thrilled with how they played. But as much as you fans are ready to jump ship on a team that went 11-6 last year, nobody within that locker room who wears that uniform, who wears that helmet, is ready to jump ship on the 2024 Cleveland Browns. Is there work that needs to be done? Yes. Does it need to be cleaned up? Yes. Does it need to be tightened up? Yes. Everything. Yes, 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 yes. There is nothing that could not be better from the Cleveland Browns. But all that being said, football is a week-to-week game. And as great as you look on one side, Sunday is as poor as you can look on the next Sunday, and vice versa. So this team really needs to figure it all out. This offense needs to be exponentially better running the ball, throwing the ball, everything. I know not having David Njoku is not going to help. But maybe Cedric Tillman starts running some David Njoku routes. He's not that far off as far as a size comparison to David Njoku. It's with this and all that goes along with it, and basically a fire that everybody felt was put out, maybe almost just some slow embers burning. All of a sudden you can see it starting to tower up here again. It was one thing for Deshaun Watson not to be playing well. That's a whole other thing for Deshaun Watson's name resurfacing and things of this nature. It's just unfortunate. It really, really is. I'm Jeff Lloyd. I'm your host here at Locked On Browns. As always, I appreciate the living daylights out of you guys. I appreciate everybody who makes the show their first listen every single day. Join the everyday crowd. They are a bunch of filthy animals, but they're my filthy animals. And I suggest become a filthy animal as well. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on the LOB. Let's go Browns.